Hey everybody, and welcome to Rise and Grain. We have something new here, and we call it the percolator. We got the cat cam up here. Welcome everybody. I have this nice iced coffee. We're not sponsored by it, so we can't talk about where it's actually from. I think I'll put it in the comments on the description on the YouTube, but it is a plant-based coconut something. I thought it was just going to be a black iced coffee, but pretty good. It's growing on me. We put this in the grouse cup today. It's pretty nice. Smooth, even flavor, very rich. Not like a very high acid coffee like you would have for a hot coffee, but just very good. I would probably drink it as a dessert coffee, if anything. It's got a little bit too much of that richness for me, for my liking, but let's get into the articles. First article is going to be Google sues people who weaponize DMCAs to remove rivals' search results. This is a long time coming. DMCAs have been oftentimes weaponized across everything. Now, there was overreach from like content creators and other things that they're just using people's content for nothing. One of the things in the modern era is that AI is scooping up everybody's work and not crediting them and not paying them for that work. So not my favorite. Let's go see what this is all about, though, where Google is suing people for the weaponization of DMCA, because also it will cost them less to sue because they're having to sift through all the DMCA requests if people are actually weaponizing DMCAs. So have people overreached with DMCAs? Maybe, but we'll see. Though almost all of the defendants are unidentified, Google says that Nguyen is associated with... let's back up. Google says DMCA fraudsters filed copyright takedown notices for over 600,000 URLs. That's a lot to sift through. In this case, the defendants are unidentified. Google said that Nguyen is associated with a Gmail account that posted a video describing the scheme on YouTube in November 2022 titled 2022 SEO 3 Minutes to Take Top 1 Google by Fake DMCA Complaints. The video's description said, "Make a fake DMCA for Compertier and you will get top 1 Google in 3 minutes. DMCA takedown notices. Please search it on Google." It's interesting to come out and like flagrantly just say, be a fraud. This tactic is used to attack and fraudulently suppress competitors' websites and products on Google search results, making consumers more likely to buy the same or similar products from the bad actor or their affiliates. Such bad actors know that the fraudulent takedown request often has the same effect as a legitimate one. If a takedown request contains all the elements required under Section 512C3A, it likely triggered the removal by Google. And this is probably an automatic removal. Search isn't the only Google product vulnerable to incorrect takedowns. In May 2023, a Google Play Store suspended an app that combines a web browser with a file manager simply because the app was capable of loading a piracy website that could also be loaded on any standard browser. Google initially rejected the app. Developers appealed, but was finally reversed, and the takedown was after 3 weeks. But this is all work that people have to do. So this is causing zero, nothing was gained from all of this, right? So this is why Google is probably pushing back on this. Also in March 2022, game developer Bungie slammed YouTube's DMCA takedown process in a lawsuit against defendants accused of sending fraudulent takedown notices against Destiny 2 videos. Bungie's lawsuit said the defendants were able to do this because of a hole in YouTube's DMCA process security, which allows any person to claim to be representing the rights holder in the world for purposes of issuing a DMCA takedown. Yeah, that's terrible. You have to provide no proof that you are the holder of the rights for a DMCA takedown. Of course, that will open up Pandora's box of DMCA takedowns and use DMCA takedowns as a weapon. So, ooh. Meanwhile, copyright holders have lobbied to make DMCA takedowns even easier. Sports leagues recently urged the U.S. to require instantaneous takedowns of pirated live streams. If you're just blatantly pirating and live streaming somebody's content, yeah, Like, if I just read these articles out and did not provide my own feedback, like, I'm literally just stealing their content. But we're sitting here talking about what are the ramifications of this, and there is some further transformation of the content. This is not just purely I take theirs and I read it out and go, yeah, there you go. And we read the next one. Yeah, there you go. So this is like the difference, and is that if you like live stream somebody's event or restream somebody's stream, that's not yours. DMCA relies on honesty of copyright claims. This article goes on and on. We're going to read the next paragraph, and then we'll probably move on from there. But it's great to see that a company is pushing back on what is being used as a weapon, right? The weapon of, I am the rights holder. Are you? They don't have to prove it. So they can just say, yes, I am the rights holder. And therefore, they're good. You don't have to worry about anything else. And that's made DMCA a huge weapon in the modern era, similar to patent trolling. Like, patent trolling is a huge problem in tech. So similar to here, patent trolls and DMCA trolls are a huge problem. This paragraph says, Google said in its lawsuit that under the DMCA, it is obligated to trust the assertions that copyright claimants make in takedown requests. So they are automatically beholden to something saying, I own this, I want a DMCA takedown. That's pretty rough for Google as a company, or even all other companies as well too, that someone comes to you and says, hey, I'm filing a DMCA complaint, and they're just shouting wolf, right? There's no like, where is the wolf? There's nothing there. There's nothing to protect Google from this. Neither the DMCA notice and takedown provisions nor its conditions for safe harbor protections require a service provider to proactively monitor its service or to affirmatively seek facts, Google wrote. Rather, the DMCA relies on the honesty and good faith of copyright claimants, requiring them to support their claims with a statement under penalty of perjury and relying on the accuracy of the information they submit. Well, if you do this through shell companies that are in another country, and there are no ramifications for making any DMCA claims, make as many claims as you want. So, interesting. And I'm so glad to see this. Go ahead and read the rest. Let me know in the comments or in the Twitch chat what you think about this. I thought it was an interesting read. I'm so glad to see that a company is pushing back on DMCA. I have gotten a bunch of DMCAs on a whole bunch of content that are just wrong. A couple of them are correct, and I let those stand for sure, because some of the Brotato content has music that they licensed, but they did not create all of their music. So that is absolutely a correct DMCA. So if I ever monetize that video, that money goes to that person, and that's great. No problem. My screw up for not knowing that. Now I do know it, so we no longer play that music on stream. Anyways, next one. Wholesale prices fell 0.5% in October for biggest monthly drop since April. Let's put this in chat. You can follow along or have the articles as needed. It'll also be linked down below if you would like to click and read the article yourself. The article goes on to say, wholesale prices in October posted their biggest decline in 3.5 years, providing another indication that the worst of the inflation surge may have passed. The Producer Price Index, PPI, which measures final demand costs for businesses, declined by 0.5% for the month, against the expectations of 0.1. Against expectations for a 0.1 increase from the Dow Jones Consensus, the Labor Department reported Wednesday. The department said the biggest monthly decline since April 2020. That's actually pretty incredible. So are we going to see cost of living adjustments and these other things? Are things going to be better? Probably not, but it's interesting to see that where the economy is trending, and knowing where the economy is trending and how to make choices against that is very important. This is why I read these articles, and I thought this one was going to be very interesting. On a yearly basis, the article goes on and continues to say, on a yearly basis, headline PPI posted a 1.3% increase, down from 2.2 in September. Excluding food and energy, core PPI was unchanged. Also below, wait, why would we exclude food and energy? That's like the most cost. Anyways. Also below the forecast for 0.3% increase, excluding food and energy and trade service, the index increased 0.1. The report comes a day after Labor Department said the Consumer Price Index, which measures the CPI, which measures prices for goods and services at the consumer level, was unchanged in October from the previous month. That's pretty good in that it's not continuing to go up, because cost of living is way too high in the world. Like, we all didn't ask to be here, so like, why does it cost to live? Why do we even have this phrase, cost of living? Ugh. Article continues. It says that set off an aggressive rally on Wall Street, where sentiment is rising that the Federal Reserve is done raising interest rates and could in fact start cutting them in the first half of 2024. Consumers in October displayed some sensitivity to prices. Yeah, like the prices are all way too high over the last 6 months. The Commerce Department Advanced Retail Sales Report for the month showed a decline of 0.1% according to a number that is adjusted for seasonal factors but not inflation. Wall Street had been looking for a drop-off. Excluding auto, sales rose 0.1% compared to expectations for an unchanged number. So everything's like not falling, not gaining. Like, Bimka, how you doing? Welcome to Rise and Grind. Price declines came primarily from the goods side as the index slid 1.4% according to the PPI report. Final demand services price were unchanged. Yeah, so everything on the final price to consumers is unchanged. Not good. The spike in good prices caused by outsized demand for big ticket items in the early days of COVID pandemic helped fuel the inflation surge. I don't know if that fueled the inflation surge. Like, greedy corporations amassing like a huge money is like, and greedy people as well too, probably is part to do with the inflation surge. I never blame the consumers, and I never blame people who don't have anything or the employees, right? We never blame them for inflation. It's like just not. It's just not. Yo, Lux, hello. Let's go on here. Some 80% of the drop in goods prices came from a 15% tumble in gasoline prices. Interesting. On the service side, transportation warehousing costs increased 1.5%, while trade services declined 0.7%. Airline passenger services prices have increased 3%. Well, being on an airplane sucks anyways. Why are they even able to like raise their prices? Like, if gasoline is also going down quite a bit, I guess jet fuel is like different maybe, but I don't know. Being on an airplane sucks. Like, they've not made anything good about travel in my lifetime. From the consumer standpoint, sales are also held back by the decrease in gasoline prices, with sales in service stations down 3.3%. Yeah, so everything's kind of just in the middle here. The controlled group sales of Commerce Department is to compute gross domestic product showed a 0.2% gain. Sales overall increased 2.5% from a year ago. Stocks were positive. What else do they say? Empire State Manufacturing Survey, which gauges conditions in the New York area, posted an unexpected increase of 14 points to 9.1, better than the estimate for a -3. So they go from -3 to +9. The number represents a percentage of companies seeing expansion against contraction. So everybody's hiring, everybody's doing a ton of things. This article reads to me that the economy is in a reasonable state. That doesn't mean that everybody is doing well, but see how next year goes. Maybe we don't see any adjustments from the Federal Reserve. So fingers crossed that it's getting better. Next article here is Biden-Harris administration invests $444 million to strengthen America's infrastructure for permanent, safe storage of carbon dioxide pollution. Carbon dioxide pollution is a huge problem, and it's interesting to me that we want to solve the problem after it's happened, which we sure do need to do that, but we also should stem the problem from happening in the first place. What are we doing to pull back everybody's uses of carbon? Like, sure, it's good to have these ways to have disposal of it and capture it, but anyways, let's see what this article has to say. From energy.gov. As part of President Biden's Investing in America agenda, the U.S. Department of Energy, DOE, today announced over $444 million to support 16 selected projects across 12 states that will fight climate change by bolstering the nation's carbon management industry. The projects funded by President by the president's bipartisan infrastructure law will expand carbon dioxide storage infrastructure needed to significantly and responsibly reduce CO2 emissions. That does not reduce CO2 emissions, number one. Let's be very clear. That's not reducing their emissions. That's capturing it once it's already been emitted. Unless they have like some capture. Emissions from industrial operations and power plants, as well as from legacy emissions in the atmosphere. Okay, so they will be capturing at the source of it and then capturing once it's already in the air. Large-scale responsible deployment of carbon management technologies is crucial to meeting the administration's ambitious climate goal of achieving a net zero emissions economy by 2050. So 25 years from now? I don't think we make that, but good goal. It's good to have goals. Many of us have goals that we may or may never achieve if you've seen my stream. President Biden's Investing in America's agenda is about transforming our nation for the better, curbing pollution, and providing economic opportunities in communities throughout the nation. Thanks to this historic agenda, the Department of Energy is investing in responsible carbon storage infrastructure to help slow the harmful effects of climate change, all while revitalizing local economies and delivering cleaner air to the American people. So this is like a public works program. This is like a jobs program, kind of. In that they can choose exactly where to invest and where to put to get the most bang for their buck. Love to see that. Would also love to see on top of this that corporations and pollutants, people who pollute in the first place, get, not sanctions per se, but some legislation against that so that we don't have to go pull it out of the air in the first place. Like if it didn't get emitted in the first place, it would be much better. I think one of the things in the future that we'll see, it's like we'll look back and say, wait, you used fossil fuels to transport around bottled water. So you used fossil fuels to create plastic, and then you put water in it, which you can get out of a pipe and out of your like fresh water. Just you can drink the water, and then you carted it around also burning fossil fuels. So like the drinks industry is like a huge problem, right? In that you're just carting around a bunch of liquid. Now, does that ever stop? I don't know, but it seems like a huge problem that we'll look back on and be like, oh, why do we do that? But in today's like standard, Rumble, yeah, let's go, Captain Planet, exactly. But these all come from idealistic, privileged positions where, like, you don't need to have the instant gratification of being able to stop somewhere and just buy something because you have no time running between jobs and everything else. This is a privileged position to hold, and I want everybody to be able to hold this position. Like, we're all for workers' rights around here and everybody making more money and living a more comfortable, safer life in general. So, but I do note that that comes from a privileged position, right? I'm even able to do content creation because I'm in a privileged position. So we'll see. Let's read a little bit more here. To achieve net zero emissions by mid-century, the United States will need to capture, transport, and permanently store hundreds of millions of tons of carbon dioxide each year. How do you convert it? Do you convert it into something solid? It's like a really interesting question. Do you want to capture it before it like gets away? So you like put captures on the exhaust of everything, right? Retrofit cars with capture, and then you have to like dump it, the filter or whatever it is. I don't know, unsure. Also, like, electric cars are going to be more and more of a thing. This will require a concerted effort to build out the infrastructure to store large quantities of carbon dioxide in geologic storage facilities. I've read another article on this where they're like trying to do this safely. It's kind of rough because you also have to dig up the earth to make enough space for it in the first place, and then you're emitting carbon by doing that. So like, what does the actuarial table look like for doing that? Like, I don't know. Biden-Harris administration is committed to ensuring that carbon management products are designed, built, and operated safely and responsibly in a way that reflects the best science and responds to the needs and inputs of local communities. Love that. That's some of the best news that I can possibly hear, is that we're trying with the best knowledge we have, with like the best precision that we have today. This goes on that there's like more and more things that they're doing on a micro level. Go ahead and read the rest of the article and let me know in the comments below or in the chat in Twitch chat. So What a great article. I love seeing that this is happening. We do articles that are not violent and not major politics, not major front-running politics around here. We could do some of those later, but I find that gets plenty of coverage. We're trying to cover things that don't get plenty of coverage. This is absolutely incredible. Name one thing the Biden administration did well. This right here. Right? Nestle when they bought Poland Springs. Oh God, yeah, Emolux, exactly. Emolux in Twitch chat mentioning just Nestle existing at all and being an awful corporation around the world. Here's another one. So next article. Companies with flexible remote work policies outperform on revenue growth. So all of these companies that even Amazon is doing this, it's wild. All these companies return to work. You have to be in the workplace. Like, why aren't you in? So like all of this return to the workplace and other things for remote workers. No, we should be pushing more for having more remote workers. Like I don't need teachers going to a school or whatever. We proved during COVID that like that's not a thing that is needed. We should give people the resources and infrastructure to like do these things. I don't know. It's very wild to me. Now, you get other things about going to school and maybe I have a bad take on that, but like we could be able to turn a lot of jobs into remote work, right? So remote for 5 years and commuting 5 hours for productivity. Yeah. Epic Finger Paints in chat got a new job and they are commuting 5 hours a day. Yeah, productivity. Here's how you get more productivity out of people. Pay people more. As soon as my boss said you're going, like we're sending the whole team home for COVID. This was in February before like the whole mandated like people don't do things. He was like, yeah, we all could work remotely. Like why are we even here? We had a discussion as a team and he sent us home. And I told him as soon as he made that decision, thank you for the $5,000, if not $10,000 raise that you have given me, and maybe even more, because telling me that I can work from home is at least a $5,000, if not $10,000 raise, bare minimum. We're talking about the and where does this cost add up? Your free time is worth more than you charge your boss for your time. Double, triple, quadruple. Who knows how much it's actually worth, but it's worth bare minimum double whatever you charge your boss. And then you're also losing resources as you're commuting. You're losing your patience. You're losing extra sleep. You're losing whatever else it may be. Commuting is a net negative on everybody's life, period. Commuting is awful. It provides no benefit. And then you just lose 2 hours of your day. You're like, oh, but your commute's only 30 minutes each way. You have to set up for commute and take down for commute when on both sides. When you like leave your house and get to work, and then when you leave work and get to your house, there's setup on both sides. So people who are saying that they're like even Epic Finger Paints, it's more than just like 5 hours commute. It's more probably closer to 6 hours of commuting. Yeah, you're just losing so much from it. Bimka in chat, I could see remote work being an issue, remote school being an issue. I think there were a lot of behavioral issues in schools. Yeah, but that's probably from the parents being shitty to their kids. Anyways, most office workers should be able to work from home. Also things like meal prep, etc. Yeah, this is what I was saying when I told my boss you gave me a $10,000 raise right now. I don't have to pay out for lunch. I don't have to pay out for commuting. I don't have to pay out extra money when I have to like take off time to go do things or whatever. Like I would just use my lunch break to go over to the optometrist or the dentist that's like right next to my house, right? So it's such a privileged position to work from home, number one, and then number two, people are not fighting for it so hard. It's very weird. Anyways, back to that. We haven't read a single word on this article other than the title. Let's read the title again and get started. Companies with flexible remote work policies outperform on revenue growth. Employees frustrated with their CEO's return to office mandates have tried arguing that remote work is linked to greater productivity. Yeah, it sure is. That it helps the environment with fewer commutes and improves diversity by broadening the talent pool. Yeah, you can get talent from anywhere. You don't have to get talent from exactly your city or exactly 30 minutes to 1 hour from your headquarters. That sounds like a Rumble. That sounds like a parental problem. The parents are the problem, not the kid. But yeah. They do need the socializing, having public school. And then also parents need the socialism that is sending their kids to daycare. But parents suck. I understand parents have to work, but in my utopia, parents like don't really have to work, and they could like govern the kids and these other things. So like, I don't know, they would be remote workers too, and they can actually like, you know, engage with their kids. And people who want to have kids would have kids, not just everybody having kids willy-nilly. So it's my utopia though. Anyways, now they may have another argument to get their CEO's attention: higher revenue growth. A new report released Tuesday, a hybrid work management startup that also compiles the data set Flex Index, includes an analysis of remote work policies and revenue growth at 554 publicly traded companies done in partnership with the Boston Consulting Group. It found that the average public company that gives employees choice over whether to come into an office also outperformed on revenue growth over the past 3 years by 16%. What? Compared to companies with more restrictive policies. So if you grew this amount, the other people grew 16% larger than that amount on average. Yeah, but Bimka, in my utopia, everybody has UBI and we all have enough money and we all get to do the things we want to do. Like, we're in utopia land here. But yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I agree with all of these things. But also there needs to be a lot more parenting of kids before they ever make it into school, so that everybody can have a better school experience. Like, anyways, that gap is really surprising for us and larger than expected. Interesting. The Flex Index acts as an online repository of remote work policies for some 7,500 companies. The analysis tracked revenue growth between 2020 and 2022. First, normalizing the data for industry performance to eliminate differences between high and low growth sectors. Few studies have yet compared the relationship between revenue growth and companies' remote work policies, says Nicholas Bloom, an economist and professor at Stanford University, who is also an advisor to Scoop. Okay, the company that did all of this in the first place. That's in part, he says, because most survey tools study individuals' experience with remote work rather than overall corporate policies. Okay, so you look at it at the micro level rather than the macro level. This study looks at it at the macro level. Combined with past research that connects flexible work policies to headcount growth, collectively they paint a pretty strong picture, he says, of the two reports from Flex Index, even if the data does not suggest remote policies actually cause revenue growth. But whether higher revenue prompts firms to need to hire faster and choose flexible policies to do so, or more flexible policies are engaging workers and leading them to better work policies, in some ways it doesn't matter so much. If I'm reading this as a manager, the interpretation is pretty similar. Flexible employment practices are going to help support growth. Yeah, so you widen the pool in which you can hire people. Well, guess what? You also widen the pool in which people, you don't have turnover. So you don't have to replace for turnover. You can like add people for growth, because I believe there's also less turnover of people who have work for companies with remote policies. As the conversation remains red hot over whether working from home helps or hurts productivity, and more CEOs cite efficient work as a reason for return to office mandates, the new analysis could add fuel to the discussion. There's way too little real data and analytics. There's a lot of perception and opinion, but not many real correlations like this. Debbie Lovich, a senior partner at the Boston Consulting Group focused on the future of work, says. The report shows that the 3-year industry adjustment revenue growth rates of companies that have what Scoop calls fully flexible policy, meaning they allow employees or teams to choose when and whether they come to the office, or are fully remote, is 21%. Companies in the data set with relatively more restrictive policies say those that have corporate mandates for a couple days per week or those require full-time work had only 5% adjusted. Oof. Man, revenue growth rate. The analysis found, when excluding the tech industry over the same period of time, public companies that were fully flexible outperformed by 13 percentage points. So tech companies perform even bigger What this is saying is like you get even bigger growth, 16% higher than the other companies. And if you exclude tech, 13%. Interesting. Epic finger. The fact that we have a Silicon Valley and a Silicon Alley is a monumental failure of all tech companies. You don't need a goddamn office. Yeah, you don't. And it was proven during COVID for tech companies that they don't. It actually, on a team I worked on, was we were able to hire somebody on the other coast, because I'm here in Seattle. We hired someone on the other coast. They started at 6 a.m. their time, or 8 a.m. their time. I forget what time we started them at, but that's 4 hours in front of us. They were able to get to all of the infrastructure problems that we weren't able to get to earlier, and provided a huge platform for the rest of the team to stand on, because they would already have tickets out about problems, and we would be able to solve problems as everyone else came online over here. Or we would engage other teams that also had hired somebody out on the other side of the United States or world, right? It doesn't matter. But I was just speaking to what our team did. So having this like flexible work policy means that other people can be even more productive, because you have somebody on the front lines at 6 a.m. their time, which is, 2-3 our time, or whenever they started, right? And you get this huge, productivity boost from this, because they were hired to sift through everything and make sure and streamline everybody's work for the day. Awesome. Like, work from home is amazing. You can get talent from anywhere as well too, and you can still and you don't even have to pay the premium like Seattle price tag for people. You can pay just 10% less than that, and then you still get premium people because they're living in a low cost of area and they're able to make as much money as possible. Yeah. Anyways, there's some more to this article, but absolutely incredible article. This is great. I loved reading this article. Got one more, last one. Touting the importance of protein mapping. This is from the University of Queensland, Australia. Let's go see what this is all about. About protein mapping or something. For the first time, University of Queensland researchers have shown that the tau protein, TAU, known for its role in dementias, behaves where communication in the brain takes place. Okay. The study, led by blah, 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 used super resolution microscopy to visualize individual tau proteins in motion while neurons are talking to each other. That is an incredibly detailed view of the brain that I don't think we've ever seen before, or were unable to see, or didn't point our tools at, because these tools are probably incredibly expensive, right? Dr. Martinez Marmol explained that the team's discovery is a big step towards understanding what triggers tau aggression in disease states like Alzheimer's, or other dementias. We discovered that tau in a healthy brain controls an important population of vesicles at the presynapse critical for I'm gonna ruin this because this is a science tech article. Neuronal, I'm gonna put it in chat. Neuronal communication for neuronal. We're working on it. We're working through it. So the communication in the brain. Neuronal. Okay, thank you. Sometimes when you read words, right? Like Gindred says pseudo, and it triggers me. No, it's pseudo. But also, we get to learn all kinds of words around here too. We've looked up words before. We're looking up words is great. Learning things, right? That's what we're doing around here. It's great. These vesicles are like the words that neurons use to transmit information to other neurons. All right, well, if you interrupt that, that's a huge problem, because then it becomes all word salad. And if the tau protein goes in and just isn't acting appropriately. Yeah, I'm still learning how to read. That's correct. That's what this segment is all about. I can read sometimes. For the very first time, we've shed light on the mechanism in which tau acts in our nerve cells. By understanding tau's role in a healthy context, we begin to fully understand what leads to the abnormal accumulation of tau in these diseases. Interesting. Studying tau in a healthy brain is more challenging than studying it in a diseased brain, where changes in its molecular behavior are far more prominent and obvious. Okay, so that's one reason why we weren't able to understand how or why these things were happening. We weren't able to see it at a small enough level, and we weren't able to just If you look at a regular brain, it's like, oh, I don't even know what I'm looking for. So now we know what we're looking for. I love to hear that we are working on making everybody's brain healthier for the long term. Love healthy brains, love healthy people, love smart people. One of the problems we have here, though, is that I'm basically out of coffee. And I'm out of articles. What that means is we're going to have to see you next time. Appreciate you all for being here. Please put your comments down below. If it's your first time here, go ahead and press that subscribe button on YouTube or the follow button on Twitch. We do this Monday through Thursday, Rise and Grind, and we will see you next time.